Hello and welcome to Agenda 2015. The biggest sporting event as far as Indians are concerned happens in February and March of this year, 2015, when the World Cup takes place in India, in Australia and New Zealand. Of course, India as defending champions, there'll be 1 billion and plus eyes watching how Dhoni's team plays there. We've got a very enlightened panel, if I might say so, here to discuss India's prospects and what could be areas of concern. So on this panel, we've got Nalin Mehta, senior journalist, and of course, who's been following cricket very, very aggressively over the past so many years. We've got Rajkumar Sharma, who's been a former Ranji Trophy player and also Virat Kohli's coach. Atul Vasan, former fast bowler for India, and the former sports editor of Times of India, Srivatsa. So let me start with Atul. Defending champions, India, 2011, different countries. Do you think that we've got the wherewithal to go and defend this title?
You know, 4 years is a long time, Ayaz, and then defending champions tag doesn't count for much these days, especially in the olden days when the World Cup used to keep on happening in England. It mattered a lot. And that too, if you take in factor that West Indies was dominating, so where it was held, it didn't really matter at those 10, 15 years, After that, when the cricket moved on, the one-day cricket has entrenched itself all over. Surfaces come into play, the rules have changed. So certain teams have benefited with certain rules in certain areas. But as we go to Australia, our past record shows that, if you're defending champion, it won't count for much. You won't get respect, which you would have got if this World Cup was in subcontinent. So I am not very bullish about it. I was very bullish, and that's why I think the credit must go to the Indian team the way they won, in spite of all the pressure, because they were supposed to win. Then the win is much sweeter. And playing and winning something when you're not rated at all is also sweeter. That we found out in '83.
So you're not bullish. Nalin, this is interesting. Atul Vasan says he's not bullish about India going and retaining the title in Australia. Yeah. But the Indian team has actually been doing much better in limited overs cricket than they've been doing in test matches, especially overseas. This team is a very young team, but it's a very exciting team also. What's your reading of the situation?
I think I agree with Atul that I'm not as bullish about this team either, in terms of it being defending champion. Remember that only really 4 players really have survived from that 2011 team to now. The 6 of the big guns are out. We are, I think, ranked number 2 in the ODI ranking right now. And you're right that we've done well this year, but we've done well against West Indies and Sri Lanka in home conditions. We got walloped against England. We didn't do very well in the early part of the year. We lost in New Zealand in similar conditions. We'll have to wait and see how this team performs now in Australia in the next 2-3 years. I think they do have an advantage in the sense that they'll spend a long time in Australia in the lead up to the World Cup. And if you see the first 4 or 5 games in their Group B, in their group, they're all in Australian conditions. They're all in Perth, Adelaide, Brisbane, and so on. So in that sense, this team does have a lot going for it, but I wouldn't say that they are favourites or that they have an extra momentum because they're defending champion. Because it's a very different team from the team that played in 2011.
But they have, Rajkumar, they've got an interesting and impressive record in Australia in limited overs cricket, and actually they won the Champions Trophy in England in 2013. So, there's always the debate whether India can do well overseas. But I think in limited overs cricket, this team has actually proved a lot of people wrong and proved itself right.
Yeah, you're right. We are ranked second in the world, and this is a young side, and they are doing very well in Test cricket as well in Australia. If you see the current series, and in one days we have got a very good record, and with the players coming in form like Shikhar and this guy Virat. We have got a formidable batting lineup, and we have got good bowlers also in Umesh Yadav and Ishant Sharma and Bhuvnesh Kumar. So we stand a good chance. I won't say that we are favourites, but we still have a good chance.
Okay, so now I must go to Srivatsa, who's got a little more white hair than I have. Lots of experience. You've
bowlers also in Umesh Yadav and Ishant Sharma and Bhuvnesh Kumar. So we stand a good chance. I won't say that we are favourites, but we still have a good chance.
Okay, so now I must go to Srivatsa, who's got a little more white hair than I have. Lots of experience. You've tracked the records of all teams. West Indies won titles twice. They retained the title in '79. Australia have done it thrice in a row. Does India have that kind of strength?
2 things. First, you said about India winning in England.
Yes.
And look at the test record in England. Both 3 years ago and last time. We didn't do well. But in limited overs cricket, we did very well in England. And as you said, in Australia, Under Dhoni only we won the tri-series also last time. And if you look at that, I have a feeling that even now, the bouncier pitches that we have been talking, everybody has been saying, but in the last two tests, it looked, we played very well on those pitches, they batted very well. See, one-day cricket is what? Batting essentially. And even if your bowlers don't do well in 50 overs, your batsmen can carry you through, and Indians have done that also in the past.
I must take that question to the bowler. Because in Australia, the bowlers might actually come a lot more into play.
Yeah, so, you know, again, what's your core competence? You know, when we rate a team, we rate the surface and we rate the composition of the team. Your strengths are all-rounders, spin bowling all-rounders. We've got, on paper, we've got very good fast bowling attack, but you know how it just goes helter-skelter, we saw in the first test match in Italy. So, I mean, I would not really back it. I would back them, but if you have to win, then, you know, what's your strength? If it was wickets where we're turning, I would say India is straight away favorite, you know. Yeah. And every team prepares their team World Cup to World Cup. You know, now the phase has come where the rules are also actually dictating. Now with the two new balls, what are spinners going to do? And especially the Kukura ball. If it was the SG ball, which has got a seam on a turning track in India, even Yuvraj Singh is unplayable and in the middle overs. And you know, we have compartmentalized the game so much that there is such a script which runs through it. That power plays, end over slog, the first 15 power plays, you know. So and the dynamics are changing. So if there was a Duke ball or a SG ball, and there were not two new balls were not used, I would say India would be front runner.
So Nalin, I must, taking off from where Atul has left, but I may not necessarily agree with him, because in '83 when we won, nobody gave us a hope in hell. And there was one great bowler we had, Kapil Dev. The others were all you know, two guys were pulled out from the league and said, come and play for India. In '86 in the
Horses of courses, Roger Binny, Madan Lal,
but they all,
Madan
Lal and Roger Binny took a lot of wickets. Mohinder Ramanathan.
Yeah.
So nobody fancied them as bowlers,
Absolutely.
but they clicked.
Absolutely.
So are we just being unduly pessimistic about the bowling attack?
No, I don't think we're being unduly pessimistic. I think there are genuine questions about this bowling attack. They all have talent, but they haven't shown that they have the class yet. They haven't been consistent as much as we would have liked to. And this is a tournament which is a month and a half, from the 14th of Feb from Valentine's Day, and the finals is on the 29th of March. So it's a month and a half, and it's also a knockout format after the after the group matches.
Yeah.
So each team plays about 6 matches in total, at least in the group stages, then the knockouts. So you have to perform over a consistent period of time. Do we have the bench strength and the capability to last for that long? That's a question. I hope that question is answered in the affirmative. But at this point, I don't think we have the evidence to say beyond hope and optimism that we do have that team which will do that. If you look at, for example, the South Africans or the Australians, they have far better bowling resources than we have. The Australians also have...
Although South Africa have never won anything like the World Cup.
They have never even been to the finals so far. I think Pakistan might be a dark horse here. Considering how they played in Dubai, although that was a totally different condition. And Australia, I mean, although Michael Clarke is now a big question mark, that puts a question mark on them. I think there are other strong teams. India is certainly a strong team in the fray. But to say that we're the front runner, maybe putting it too much.
Just to better, you know, I don't want to be the naysayer. I'm just, you know, doing a SWOT analysis here, and I'm just doing the
You are the naysayer.
Yeah, so I'm see one bowling we have discussed. Another things which make me actually ponder is, you know, the 90-yard boundaries. You know, where are the arms? You know, those extra 1.5 runs converted to 2 runs will be a big factor. The other thing is, Indian team, the main core of the team would have been playing for 3 months already. You know, with the grueling test series, then the triangular series. Then when you reach the World Cup, I'm not sure how many are going to last in the first original squad of 15, which is going to be announced soon.
I must add there that all teams currently are playing. So India is playing a test series, but so is...
But nothing is as sapping as, you know, getting beaten by Australia day in and day out.
How do you see, Rajkumar, batting versus bowling? Srivastava mentioned that batsman's game, which, you know, is the way one-day cricket has been. But in Australia, there is a dimension which comes through the bowling.
Yeah, true, but bowling has always been our weaker link, you know, and we have always struggled in bowling. But fortunately for us, we have got good fast bowlers. Presently, we have got 4 good fast bowlers. And we have got good spinners in Akshar Patel and Ravindra Jadeja also. Ashwin doing well. So, I mean, we are not that weak in bowling also. And as it is, everybody knows that we have got a good batting lineup. So I think it is a 50-50 chance for India, in the competition.
Let me give another reason. I've just counted 4. Another one is that 90-yard boundaries. In IPL we get so excited by Ajinkya Rahane just flicks it and goes over the 60-yard boundary. Those sixes are going to be caught at the boundary line.
Yeah.
So we don't have the big muscular players which need to clear the boundary. And Yuvraj and a couple of them who were like Tendulkar, who could hit long, are not there in the team. So where are the big hitters in the middle order as well?
But can I ask you something? Can I ask you something on batting? I was going to ask about Rohit Sharma. We talked a lot about the bowling, but this is a good batting line.
Very good batting lineup,
and taking on Rohit Sharma and so on. Now the question, of course, is whether how consistent they'll be. But in Australian conditions, and Sachin, I think recently in his autobiography, he talked about Perth. How everyone talks about Perth as a bowling pitch, but if you get in and if you know how to play that ball, then it can be a very good batsman pitch too.
Sachin can never forget Perth because he made one of his greatest centuries there. But I'll come back to that. One of the big talking points has been the complete elimination of seasoned senior players. Now, if you look at our victories in the past, 83, the guys who really contributed, Jimmy Amarnath, Syed Kirmani, Kapil Dev himself. In 2011 when we won, Sachin Tendulkar, Zahir Khan, Yuvraj Singh. So you are absolutely shorn of, barring Dhoni, who's been there for, 10 years.
Maybe because it's the first time, perhaps because of our batting strength, you might be able to play specialist bowlers.
Yeah.
Instead of going for those bits and pieces, guys, who can do this, bit of this and bit of that and all. I think this time you'll have to go with specialist bowlers. Otherwise, you can't just survive without this kind of bowler. I mean, you can't be depending only on, as he said, spinning all-rounders.
Yeah.
We need really good fast bowlers who can deliver.
So let me ask a former player that, you are 34, 35 years old and you want to play this very badly and you're left out. What does it feel like? Do you think, first of all, the selectors have been justified in what they've done so far?
I think
Mind
so.
you, final selection is still take place.
It doesn't really matter, but I think we know how things are going to pan out,
Yeah.
And I think I'm all for it. I commend the selectors for biting this bullet, because for far too long, we have been actually going by reputations a lot. At one point in everybody's careers, हाथी के दांत खाने वाले और रह जाते हैं, दिखाने वाले अलग रहते. So I think, just by reputation, as I'm very skeptical about the ratings in world cricket, it's very ambiguous, Okay, 10 for 3 on a same pitch, same bowling attack, and 100 for 1 is a different cricket altogether. But how do we rate the team? How do we give them rankings? Suddenly India was number 1. In a year we are number 7. So it doesn't make any sense for me. So rating a player also in his past performances has a shelf life.
Yeah.
You can't keep on doing that over and over again. All the players, all the 5 players, if you ask them personally, if they look in the mirror, they will themselves know that they were not in it.
But one thing, for Yuvraj, I think we don't have a replacement for a person like Yuvraj in middle order.
We don't have a replacement for Kapil Dev. Bring back Kapil Dev.
No, that's not the matter. I'm talking about the present team.
But he's not in the present
But Yuvraj is not the
Okay,
Yuvraj of
now
before.
ask the players. For the last 6-8 months, they've been playing first-class cricket. Most of them are struggling to hold their team place in their first-class teams. Yeah, so, reality comes and bites you.
So Atul,
Yeah.
let's, just as a notional thing, if you take a current rating, the number 1 player in the Indian team is Virat Kohli, and you are his coach. Is there an excitement that you sense in him about the World Cup coming up? Is he kind of mentally obsessed by it, focused on it?
Yeah.
Is that the big thing?
Yeah, it is. And they are really preparing very hard for him. He's very excited about it. And he says that I want to have a rest.
He was a rookie in 2011.
Yes, and
he's
they
a senior
won.
pro now.
Yeah, he's a senior pro and he knows his responsibilities and he's very excited to fulfill all those things. And he's really preparing hard as the whole team is doing. That is what he says.
So Nalin, I have to ask this question because there's so much dispute and debate raised by, ever since we've started this IPL, we're actually losing a lot of skills in test match cricket. Sometimes it shows up when we play overseas. I may or may not agree with it in toto. But do you think it has helped us in limited overs cricket, including in the 50-over format, or not?
Absolutely. I think there's no question about it. And I think I share your view that that in test matches, it might have taken some of the important test matches away. But in IPL, look at the amount of talent that has come out straight from the IPL into this team. And we've had Yusuf Pathan and others earlier who basically got short-circuited into the team from IPL. And it's not just the exposure they get, it's also sharing the dressing room with the greats of the game and so on, and what they pick up. So I think IPL has been a good influence as far as the limited overs game has been concerned. No question about it.
See, he's demolished the concept of ratings. so let's not go by the rating. India may be number 2, Australia may be number 1, whatever. Who do you think are your favorites to win? Do you favor India, or do you rank them number 3 or 4, or what?
See, this is what I'm saying. If you are really looking at the teams as such, if you look elsewhere, everybody seems to be doing well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very difficult to actually pinpoint which team. If you look at South Africa, how well they played. Look at Sri Lanka, they beat England black and blue actually. And now they came and lost to us so badly, Sri Lankans. I mean, where do you really test? I mean, if you really look, even in Australia,
Were they selling a dummy?
Yeah, we don't
No,
know.
serious?
Yeah, you see, in Australia,
Only 2
today I
bowlers
was
were not
just,
there. The whole
I
team
was
was
just
there.
finding out. He's talking about grounds and all, except Brisbane. Even in Brisbane, he's the first man to get the first visiting opener to get 100 in a Test match.
Yeah.
The previous highest is I believe Joe Carey, who made 83 in 68.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that. I mean, that means Indians are doing very well.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really look at it, for the world, even IPL you are saying, IPL has certainly improved the fielding of Indian team. Look at the Test team. Everybody is saying today the fielding is top class.
Though there are a couple of
Yeah,
passengers.
there, of course. That we will. I'll have to, previously, we used to carry so many passengers,
Yeah.
and it is difficult to hide them. Today, I don't think you have very many. Like maybe an odd one we'll have to worry about. Otherwise, the fielding has improved. And even, see, what are you talking about in one-day cricket? Even now, every team says, we have to improve our death over performance. We have to do this. Our this thing is not good. First 10 overs, we'll have to get some more runs. See, there is no end to discussing these points. Ultimately, whichever team plays the best in that particular day will carry it.
So, theories apart, Atul, captaincy, how much of a role does it play in limited overs cricket? In Test match, we know, I mean, it's almost like a game of chess, apart from being a field
Yeah,
sport.
right. I think, yeah, in IPL, with 8, 10 coaches sitting out, everything, people running in and out, captaincy has become redundant, actually. I think Test matches...
In the 50-over format?
50 overs, yeah, it's a very good question you've asked. Sometimes I'm watching the match and I'm thinking, I mean, what the captain... Before that, where you didn't have to choose the power plays, probably it was too regimented, everybody knew what to do. Now, this is the angle, so I feel whenever the changes are being made by technical committees, you've got to keep that leadership angle alive in cricket to make it interesting for me. Otherwise, they've got coaches, okay, you do, first over you bowl, after this slog overs you bowl, if the ball gets old, you do. So everything, everybody knows. Yeah. But that angle, like Virat chose the power play in one-day series in 22nd over, that was something fresh. Everybody's saying it worked for India. But it will work in Australia, I'm not sure. Because, at that point, because on a given day, what is your team, what is your form, and how you have done. What you have done in another country doesn't count for
a surprise element.
So I think captaincy is in a tournament of the World Cup is absolutely crucial. Of course, you can't transcend necessarily the quality of your team, but look at Imran Khan in '92, Steve Waugh, that famous thing when he went to this guy and said you dropped the World Cup. I think in a tournament like this where emotions are so intense, where pressure is so high, the quality of leadership and the quality of captaincy can make the difference between whether you are almost there or whether you cross the line.
Virat, sorry.
Yeah, 1 second. Yeah. In the last few series, I have been noticing, second power play, people are happy getting 30-35 runs. But in the last 10 overs, they are getting 100 runs.
Yeah.
How do you explain this?
Yeah, because they hold their wickets in the second power play.
They
just spend them.
Not wanting to lose wickets in the power play. Yeah. Not that we get 50 runs and lose 2 wickets and 3 wickets. They are not bothered now.
So it is the same thing. Before the one day was played like this. Yes. Without forgetting what the power plays, we should keep our wickets intact to go for the slog overs anyway. So it's come back to where we started from.
Let me throw a prickly question at Rajkumar. So Virat seems like a natural born leader, and whatever we saw of him, he may have done some things right, some things wrong, but he just kind of enjoys it. Now, having tasted this, in a test match, in one-day matches, do you think he can restrain himself when the World Cup starts? Because there's going to be Mahendra Singh Dhoni.
Yeah, it's going to be Mahendra Singh Dhoni, and I think Mahendra Singh Dhoni is far more experienced, and for this big stage, I think we need Dhoni for that matter, and he's learning a lot, and he has shown that he has got good leadership qualities. Yeah. But still, I think for the World Cup, I think it should be Dhoni.
So give us some inside dope. How do he and Dhoni get along?
They get along very well. He really. I think we need Dhoni for that matter, and he's learning a lot, and he has shown that he has got good leadership qualities.
Yeah.
But still, I think for the World Cup, I think it should be Dhoni.
So give us some inside dope. How do he and Dhoni get along? Are
They get along very well. You know, he really respects Dhoni, and Dhoni is. I mean, Dhoni has a lot of confidence on him, and you know, he always praises him.
Yeah, there was an interesting quote, by Virat just after the Test match, where he said, "Well, now that the captain will be back, because I could go and say whatever I wanted to as captain in the first Test to players, there's no reason why I won't stop doing that from now, and I'll keep doing that."
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see also the equation between the two. I think they do have mutual respect on how Dhoni also takes that, because Virat may not be doing it in bad form, but he'll be as aggressive as
He said
before.
that because he expects Dhoni to actually put up with it.
Correct.
You know, because for far too long in Indian cricket, you know, for some ulterior motives of association or the board, they've kept on actually keeping two factions alive.
Yeah.
You know, it served a lot of purpose.
Well, you know,
but
when
you
I
know, for
started
the
out covering cricket, there used to be Kapil Dev and Gavaskar, alternate
Bedi and
series.
Gavaskar. So now I think we have matured to a stage, not to that extent Australian cricket has matured to, or, you know, we have got a captain in waiting already designated.
So I'm asking,
Which
you know,
I said a good line.
Yeah.
I don't have to be a captain to speak to my...
Yeah.
exactly. No, that,
No, but the other, there might be a captain who's not happy with it.
Atul,
That's
In a different age, it
Dhoni
would have been a real problem.
One second.
Dhoni allows it. Then,
My,
you know, that's
my,
the good
my
situation.
this is my prickly question to you, because you've been part of an Indian dressing room.
Yeah.
You got one guy captaining you, then another guy comes in, and sometimes you have two different captains for
Yeah.
two different formats, but both of them play in the same team.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
who do you suppose as a player, you might show an inclination towards one or the other? How do you cope? How does a player cope?
Big problem, you know, if you're seen laughing and talking or going out for a meal with the other guy, you are out of the other camp. It's I'm happy. You know the stories. We can't. We
I'm
need
in
3
no
4
camp.
other but you know, it's hardest thing
yeah.
to keep actually two women in the same kitchen, as I said, daughter-in-law and mother-in-law.
It'll be
But it's
sad.
even harder to keep actually former captains and a current incumbent captain in the dressing room. But I think our cricket has matured a lot,
Yeah.
and thanks to IPL, because these players are financially secure, and you know, they are not just sycophants or yes men anymore just to get their place in the team now. So the
If there's
system
a
has
problem,
actually
it will be
evolved.
like Simon Cottage and Michael Clark problem.
Absolutely, they almost came to blows. Okay, so now we are running out of time. We need quick and firm opinions as to who do you think pose the most serious challenge to India. I'm taking the position that India are the defending champions. They have a lot to defend. Who do you think which teams can upset them, topple them?
I would think Australia would be.
Give me your two favorites.
Okay, it would be Australia, and I think Pakistan would be a dark horse. Pakistan,
Australia and Pakistan. Rajkumar?
At home, I think Australia and but South Africa, the way they are playing and the balance which they have, I think they would be hot favorites.
They won't choke?
I don't think so.
They won't choke this time. Atul?
My bet is South Africa and Australia. I mean, Pakistan won't even make the semi-finals.
And why do you say just
Yeah,
to get a... why?
they actually implode. And looking at their team, you know, again,
many
all those
captains?
problems which Indian cricket had, it is still is live and kicking in Pakistan cricket. And those issues, you know, off the field issues, will never go away. Unless they go away, the players are never comfortable enough to express themselves on the field.
So you're saying South Africa
And Australia.
and Australia. And see?
I still feel Australia and India can be a final.
So Australia and India, you're saying, which is closer to my approximation. I would actually reverse the order and not playing to the
You
gallery.
always been politically
No,
correct,
not
always.
let me complete. Not playing to the gallery. I think the Australian team might actually suffer because I'm not so sure about Michael Clark's fitness. They have a new captain. You know, the triangular is going to be tough for them. In 91-92, we had a similar kind of a tour. 5 months we were there. We didn't do too well in the World Cup. But
You know, I think that you've said the thing. There is a clear indication. Don't focus too much on the triangular. Just use it to get all your players fit, ready,
absolutely
and
right.
trying. You know,
So
and
the
don't
thing
even
is,
bother when you're
Atul,
using.
The
You know,
team,
yeah.
the squad has to be announced before the triangular begins.
Exactly, yeah.
So the next 2 weeks, whatever, the squad will be announced. And
It's a
there
peaking,
it's
actually, how
it's a
well you
peaking
can see it,
scenario.
basically.
But I think, for me, the dark horse actually is the West Indies. Not even,
This is pun intended, yeah.
yeah, pun intended. No, because they've got some really explosive players. They've done extremely well in T20. They just come apart in test matches, but in limited overs cricket, they do very well. But never discount the Sri Lankans, of course, and every
But
other
West
team that
Indies,
plays.
Sunil Narayan won't be playing. So
Well,
That's another conspiracy theory.
That's another story. So, the consensus here seems to be, I mean, if you just take a simple vote, it seems like South Africa emerge as the strongest team on paper, followed by Australia. Some like me still pump for India, root for India. But as they say, this is going to be a very, very open tournament. It's very difficult to predict who the winner will be.